I think it's a journey of more than 28 odd years. To our surprise, we had more than 120 women entrepreneurs in that room with around 10 women entrepreneurs who had pitched to investors. We don't believe women need empowerment. Women are already empowered. One of my very dear friends and my co-author Hariharan says that पहले देना बैंक भरो फिर लेना बैंक भरो.
What is a common misconception startups have about mentorship?
Mentoring is not free. Not every mentor is a magician. It has to be a win-win.
What is your opinion, women coming to the startup ecosystem from tier 2 and specifically from tier 3 cities?
The tier 2 and tier 3 cities startups are more vibrant and they have been adding a lot of value. For example, Surat is becoming a very vibrant. Jaipur is becoming a very strong ecosystem. Indore is becoming a great strong ecosystem. Bhubaneswar is becoming a great strong ecosystem. I still remember the day where on the 17th of November 2017, with a great fanfare, we had launched Billenium Divas officially at a grander stage with 400 plus women entrepreneurs.
Only tech startups attract significant investment.
I think in India, there is unfortunately, or I would say fortunately, that has been the trend. The scalability has come because of the adoption of the technology.
The stories in your book, which one resonates with you most?
You're putting me in a fix, by the way, right? I mean, all the 50 stories that we have covered in the book called Leaves Against the Odd are special in their own way.
A single failure can end an entrepreneur's journey.
It is said that it's better to learn from others' mistakes rather than doing it on your own. When you do mistakes, and there's always a price to pay.
If you sum up your 20 years experience in maybe next 60 seconds, so how you will summarize?
I think success is relative. I think at the end of the day, if you are happy with what you have done, I think you have done your part. But
Hello viewers, welcome to a fresh episode of Sign Up Startup, powered by Bharat Valley Incubator and Accelerator Private Limited, your launchpad for innovation. So today we have our guest who is the CEO of one of the famous and one of the prominent incubation, and he will give some tips by following which you can grow and scale your startup. So please welcome Mr. Bhavesh Kothari. So hello Mr. Bhavesh, welcome to our podcast. So how are you feeling today?
well, I'm feeling amazing, and as always, I keep myself feeling fantastic.
Okay. So let's start about your journey and how you have become the CEO of MSSU iSpark Foundation. I am sure there must be an incredible journey behind this.
Well, absolutely. I think it's a journey of more than 28 odd years. Right from pre graduation, where I started working at the age of 16.
Okay.
Very exciting job that I did was to actually start distributing pamphlets. Okay. Standing at the foot hill of the footsteps of the bridges where I stay, to joining uh, Monjani's as a counter sales executive during my breaks in my second, third year of my college, to joining as an executive sales in a event management company. Business information is what we called Marcus Evans. To then moving to consulting, to moving to advisory, assisting foreign SMEs to looking at assist them in entering India markets, to heading a magazine focusing on SMEs, to entrepreneurship, to starting my own enterprise. And from there, mentoring startups, to actually now leading an incubation center as a CEO. So I think, as we speak, the entire journey just flashes right in front of my eyes. I think one thing was common was, or I would say two things were common. The first thing was to learn, learn, learn. The second was to give back. I think these are the two very strong pillars that has been, stepping stones of my journey till now. And yes, not to forget the n number of friends, my family, mentors, and a lot of ecosystem players, so we call, have been phenomenal uh, catalyst, which have been a part of my journey. So I must not forget to thank all of these people, because I think if they would have not been there, maybe I would have lost my sight to the shore, right? So yes, very exciting, and the journey continues, right? So uh, that's been over the past 28 odd years, if I have to say that. I don't look so old, but yes, because I started my journey very early. So it's been incredible and full of experiences, full of adventure, and full of surprises.
So great. So we will start with your first segment of the podcast, that is Fab 5 segment. So this is a segment where generally we ask our community that what they want to hear from you, specifically from Mr. Bhavesh Kothari. So let's start with the first question, that is, what inspired you to create Billenium Divas, and how do you envision its impact on women entrepreneurs globally over the next decade?
Wow. Uh, I never knew this will come, because so here it goes, right? After I moved out of my corporate role as a corporate professional, I started my enterprising journey. But by the time I had actually built a great pool of ecosystem friends, right, who were either my clients or my colleagues or my partners, and because I believed in building relationships, and rapport building was one of the key areas. Uh, it is said that I'm a great networker, and I do believe that, because your network is your net worth,
Correct.
right? So during this entire process, a lot of this industry friends actually came back to me saying that, look, Bhavesh, I have this friend of mine who's starting his or her enterprise, and since you being in the sales, you've been in the industry, could you be able to guide them? And I think that was one of the whole reasons where I found my purpose. It is very difficult to find, one's purpose very early in the life. There are very few people who find their purpose, and I was very fortunate, because of all this industry friends, and yes, because of my family and a lot of other people from the ecosystem, I could find my purpose to give back to the society. So I said, why not, start engaging with the ecosystem, people who have not been able to find the way I have been able to find people who helped me in my journey. So I said, why not give it back to the society? And that's where I found my purpose, saying that, look, serving the nation is one great way, by giving back to the people who have not got what I have got, are great friends, are the knowledge, are the help and support that I've got, right? So in this entire journey, I started meeting people over a cup of coffee, talking about understanding the business and so on and so forth. And that by the time this was in way back in 2011, 12, the startup ecosystem was just about maturing, or just about coming to life in India, especially. And that's where I found a lot of women who also started, coming to me saying that, look, I understand that you have been in the
Hmm.
startup ecosystem, you have been interacting with a lot of people. There's a friend of mine who's getting, who referred me to you, right? The numbers started increasing, over the couple of years. And when we had co-founded a company where we used to mentor founders over a period of 3, 6 months, 9 months, right? We founded a company called the Mentorpreneurs along with one of my co-founding friends from the industry.
Okay.
And together we would have mentored around 30, 40 odd startups, right? By that time, uh, we did a conference called Women Power Summit in 2016.
Okay.
In association with BSc uh, Incubation Center, which is on the 18th floor zone startup, right? And CNBC Young Turks had actually covered that. This is the first pilot that we thought we will run.
Yeah.
And to our surprise, we had more than 120 women entrepreneurs in that room,
Mm.
with around 10 women entrepreneurs who had pitched to investors, right?
Okay.
So that was like a dipstick test, saying that, hey, look, I think there's nothing such very engaging happening, right, in the ecosystem. There were a lot of, small bits and pieces of program that were happening in the
Yeah.
ecosystem. But that gave us a validation that, look, there is a market potential, and there is a lack of ecosystem support player only for women entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And we said we don't want to name it as Nari Shakti. We don't want to name it as anything which is there in the ecosystem. We said we should give it a very very different, forward thinking name, right? And the second belief that we have is that we don't believe women need empowerment.
Okay.
And one fine day, me and one of my mentors, we sat down over, in the evening like this, thinking what can be done.
Hmm.
And that's how, Billenium Divas was christened, right? The name was formed. We said, look, it sounds great. And in fact, the whole idea around Billenium Divas was we would want to impact 100,000 million women entrepreneurs
Okay.
for a period of life.
Hmm.
And that's how Billenium Diva's name was coined. In fact, I still remember the day where on the 17th of November 2017, with a great fanfare, we had launched Billenium Divas officially at a grander stage with 400 plus women entrepreneurs at Taj Mahal Palace, right?
Okay.
During a ceremony or a road show on uh, by which was supported by FICCI and the government of India. Right? It
Okay.
was Road to Global Entrepreneurship Summit. Uh, so that is where Billenium Divas was officially formally launched, and we were very fortunate that we took it in the next 4 5 months. We took it to private limited. So Billenium Divas was officially put as a private limited entity
Hmm.
on 8th of March 2018,
Okay.
right? So this is actually an International Women's Day, by the way, right?
Okay.
Since then, it's been 7 odd years. We have never looked back. We would have impacted more than 1,000 to 2,000 plus women entrepreneurs in different aspects of their journey as an entrepreneur. So that's been a fantastic journey moving forward as well. Right? And then this is very close to my heart, by the way.
So we will go to the next question, that is, as an influencer, how do you maintain authenticity while strategically engaging your audience?
I don't know whether I call myself as an influencer. I think I call myself more of a catalyst,
Okay.
a doer. If I have to actually highlight one area, I think I always say do what you love and love what you do, right? Believe in what you are wanting to achieve. Give your 100%, right? And then one more anecdote that I always share is give in all before you give up, right?
Yeah.
So that's one very, very important part, right? Because if you, it's better to try and fail rather than fail to try, right? So I think authentic, be yourself. It's better not to cheat yourself, right? You can cheat the world,
Right.
but there's no point in you cheating yourself. uh, if you feel that you are going to give up, don't give up on life. I think give up on maybe what you're trying to achieve, and find out the reason behind it and restart.
Yeah.
I think there's always always a second opportunity, right?
Correct.
I think don't there's a thin line between attitude and arrogance, is
Mm.
what I always say, right? So you need to understand, whether you are going mad behind what you're trying to achieve, or you are trying to be sane and figure out, hey, look, I'm sure there's a way around, right? There's always a problem and there's always a solution, and vice versa, right?
Correct.
So I think be honest to yourself, be very candid, be very open. Uh, if you can go all the way out and help people, do that. One of my very dear friends and my co-author Hariharan says that "Pehle dena bank baro, fir lena bank baro." Right?
Right.
I think there are some philosophies, there are some thumb rules that you need to set. and enjoy what you're doing. I think if you don't enjoy, if you don't enjoy, I think don't do it. As simple as that.
Okay, so we will move towards the next question of Fab 5 segment, that is, what is a common misconception startups have about mentorship and how do you help them overcome it?
Okay. Another favorite part of my journey that I have been as a mentor, right? Okay. Mentoring is not free,
Mm.
right? That's the first myth, right? Second is you need to be very specific that not every mentor is a magician, right? So be very, very about who are you engaging. Do a background verification about them. Okay. Engage where it is necessary. Acknowledge, if possible, give back.
Mm.
The reason is because as mentors, we bring in a lot of values. And at the same time, you need to, first of all, understand why do you need a mentor? Or do you really need a mentor? Or why should not you engage with a mentor? So I think those are some of the key areas that you should be very clear,
Mm.
right? Last but not the least is if you're looking for a short term or a long term, I think set expectations,
Yeah.
right? So I have a podcast that I also used to run called Startup Shastra, where I have covered around 12 to 13 areas on what to do and what not to do when you engage with a mentor as well, right? I thought it would be good to quickly mention that
Mm.
because it's a very long subject and you can't cover it in a few
Right.
sets, right? But be very, very conscious and cautious when you engage with a mentor,
Okay.
right? There has to be a it has to be a win-win.
So, amongst the stories in your book, which one resonates with you most and why?
You're putting in a fix, by the way, right? I mean, all the 50 stories that we have covered in the book called Eves Against the Odd are special in their own way. So I can't, be biased with one and say, hey, look, this is one of my most favorite because very honestly, I think each story has its own value. But then there are great stories. There is a story about someone who's been a street kid. There is a rural woman who's been, creating a great wave by building a complete ecosystem about women entrepreneurs. There is a woman who's created a strong, cosmetic brand. There's a women entrepreneur who's created, board stewardships for large corporates and medium-sized organizations. Uh, there is a legal professional who has been creating an impact. So these are all great stories, from across, right? So it would be unjust for me to point out one. I think I'll be very, very non-diplomatic in that space. I think it's better that you go online. It's available on Amazon. Pick it up and get inspired.
So, viewers, we will put the link in the description so you can go and check out all the books written by Mr. Bhavesh. So, now we will come to the last question of this segment, that is, where do you see the ecosystem for women entrepreneurs you are building in next 10 years?
Uh, I don't know whether it would be appropriate to mention that there's going to be one area that this particular space will move to, right? Because it's a journey,
Correct.
and then there are milestones, right? So, for example, when we started 7 years ago, there was very little information talking about women entrepreneurship. To where today we see so much of ecosystem players coming forward to an extent that there are dedicated activities that are happening around women entrepreneurship. The government is actually gungo about supporting women entrepreneurship, and there are schemes and policies that are now written dedicatedly, or they have already been done, and there are a lot of implementation that's happening on women entrepreneurship. For example, I think the government of Maharashtra has actually come out with a scheme called Ahilyabai Holkar scheme, right? So that's a great support that the government is giving, right? And not just the state, the central governments. There are dedicated incubators that are now opening up, across the country. So I think we have seen a lot of significant shift from from the journey that I started talking about women entrepreneurship and the kind of uh, challenges that we faced when we started talking about women entrepreneurship.
Right.
To now, I think the ecosystem is opened up, right? Next 10 years, I think we would love to build a more stronger ecosystem, not just in India, but across the country. For example, one of the dreams that we have, or one of the milestones that we want to achieve, is have minimum 10 books called Eves Against, or 10 volumes. That means I'm talking about 25 to 10, 250 women entrepreneurs being covered, not just in India, but also globally. So as I said, we have a Asia Pacific edition that we are eyeing. We would want to look at global editions such as Europe, US, and other regions as well, right? Where we would want to go ahead and create a more robust ecosystem across the globe.
Yeah.
So, for example, last year in the month of March, we launched something called as Consortium of Empowered Women Entrepreneurs. It's a federation where we had, in fact, we have 6 to 7 communities coming together and collaborating. So I think that's a great milestone, that all the 6 of us who came together and formed this consortium, okay, led by a very dynamic lady called Shweta Shalini, right? In fact, my VC, Vice Chancellor Ma'am, Dr. Apurva Palkar, she's also a very inspiring woman entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
So you'll find inspirations everywhere, right? It's just about collecting them together and taking it to the next level.
So that was the end of our first segment. And now we will come to the most favorite segment of the founders, that is VC secret segment. So here we will ask you one specific question which we say that is secret, and that is for our viewers. Why should investors back women-led startups?
Well, they're better money managers. They're better taskmasters, right? They can make sure that they bring the value that you're looking for
Yeah.
as an investor. I think these are great 3 points, uh, which have been a great trait for women founders. Also, one last point, right? If you look at the success stories of men founders versus women founders, right? I think so far, the investment done in women-led startups have given better ROI than the investment put in men startups, right? So we created a resource report, last 11th of May, and there are a lot of information that we have put around startups in the women ecosystem as well.
Okay. I think that is this information should be noted down by all the VCs, that now next time when they are investing in some startup, they should look for women-led startups. Now we will come to the funniest segment of our podcast, that is myth versus fact. Normally, I will tell you a statement and you have to first tell whether it is a fact or myth, then you can explain it.
Okay,
So, are you ready?
perfect. Let's go.
So, the first statement is women are not as interested in starting business as men.
Myth. I think if given a chance, uh, as I always say, that women do not need empowerment. All they need is support from the ecosystem and from the society.
Okay.
So look at your own houses, right? If given a chance, they will obviously start, things with a hobby and end up creating an enterprise, right? There are tons and tons of examples of women outright. I think the society has somewhere down the line not been able to give them that platform, which otherwise, if you pick up the history, right, decades and decades and decades ago, I think women were ruling the world. So you can't, you have no choice.
Okay. Second is only tech startups attract significant investment.
I think in India, there is, unfortunately, or I would say fortunately, that has been the trend, right? Because, see, as an investor, I'm going to put my own neck on the line. So it is very obvious that I would want faster ROI, right? So obviously tech has played a very great role, and tech has been an enabler and will remain an enabler, right?
So mentorship is about giving advice.
Myth. Let me give you an example why, right? See, mentorship is about, a rally race driver and the navigator, right? Where the mentor is a navigator, the founder is a driver. Uh, so the navigator's role is to guide, right? The driver's role is to drive, right? Based on the instructions and the directions which the navigator gives, right?
Yeah.
Same thing is with the startup and the mentor, right? A mentor is more of a sharing of his experience and expertise based on his or her understanding about the challenges which the startup faces.
I think, connect it to, our ancient Mahabharat,
Yes.
where there is a mentor, where Lord Krishna mentoring Arjun. It's always, better to have a mentor if you want to be successful. Your probability increase, much higher stake.
So you rightly mentioned, right? Another example I could say is Chanakya,
Yeah.
right? So in fact, these are the two examples that I have always cited in all my communications and talks that I give, right?
Investment decisions are purely based on business potential.
Uh, I would say it's a fact because when you're putting money, you're expecting return on investments, right? Unless it's charity,
Yeah.
but charity also has its value, right? Uh, so it has to be very, very strategically aligned. If you're putting 100 rupees, you're expecting at least 2x. That's 200 rupees or more than that. So it has to always give you return on investments. No doubt about it.
Yeah. A single failure can end an entrepreneur's journey.
Myth. Uh, I think those should be, a stepping stone to learn and understand and uh, not repeat that mistake, right? It is said that it's better to learn from others' mistake rather than doing it on your own, right? But sometimes it's better to do mistakes to figure out whether what is going to be the solution that you're looking at, right? Uh, I think there are no thumb rules or no right or wrong in that, right? It all depends on your own individual experience. It should not be costly, but right, that's very, very important.
So that was the end of our myth versus fact segment. And now we have reached to the last segment, that is secret to success. So you have been in this ecosystem and your journey, like you mentioned that, from past 28 years, you are there. So if you sum up your 20 years experience in maybe next 60 seconds, so how you will summarize?
I think success is relative, right? It's a very relative term. Second is I'm yet to be successful. Okay, I think it's an ongoing journey. uh, in my opinion, I think it's been a great learning curve, and I've been blessed to be able to contribute in whatever best way I could have been. I'm sure I could do more, and I will continue to do more till the time I feel satisfied and content. I think at the end of the day, if you are happy with what you have done,
Yeah.
I think you have done your part. But being content will be a sin that to do, right? You need to crave for more. So with every opportunity that you get, I think you should grab it with both the hands and try to maximize and capitalize as much as possible.
Okay.
So that's what I believe.
So great, Mr. Bhavesh. It was a nice session with you today, specifically from women's perspective, how the women entrepreneurs are growing, in our country, and not only in our country, it's, globally, the rise of women entrepreneurs. It's like incredible. Similarly, we learned about the entrepreneurs ecosystem and how you are contributing to the ecosystem about your books. I will really love to read the stories, the 50 stories which you've written.
So in fact, thank you so much. It's been a great talking to you, and it brought me back to life that look, there is still miles to go before I sleep, right? So thank you so much, 100x startup team, for having me with you here.
So, viewers, this is it for today. In next episode, we will come with a new guest who will share his insights to all of you. Till then, stay tuned.